And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues confronting you today that affect the decisions that you're going to make for both your personal and your business life. I come to you every Monday through Friday on Spreaker Radio, Roar 1776 Radio, and MyCast Live Radio from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Also on 405 Media Radio every Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Pacific Time, in addition to countless terrestrial stations worldwide. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com for archives of all my radio and television shows. You can also access my show live right from my website each day simply by clicking on that little icon labeled Listen Live. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. That's where I get all the emails that I deal with here on the show. And you can call into my show if you just want to comment or engage me in conversation about anything. You can call directly into the studio here at area code 909-545-6516. Again, that number, 909-545-6516. Now, on today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do. Today, my expert contributor is Ray Mailer with his American Grid. My special guest is Joel Saltzman, Dr. Wireless, and he's talking about wireless technology. Right now, I want you to stand by for news, because right now at 3:02 p.m. Pacific Time, in the heart of the Inland Empire, it's currently 87 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know what? I promised you the news, and the news is what you're going to get. Let's get right to it. I don't want to keep you waiting for it, so let's just do it, right? Well, first up, excuse me. The presidential candidates are duel on Iran. House GOP is in turmoil. You know what? Debate on the Iran nuclear deal morphed into full-blown political spectacle today as Donald Trump and Ted Cruz held a rally to denounce it. Hillary Rodham Clinton gave a speech to praise it, and congressional Republicans turned on each other angrily as they grasped for a last-ditch play to stop it. The maneuvering and speechifying did little to change the reality, barring unlikely success of an 11th hour gambit by the House. The international accord aimed at curbing Iran's nuclear program in exchange for relief from economic sanctions will move ahead. Even if Congress succeeds in passing legislation aimed at undermining it by next week's deadline, President Barack Obama would veto such a measure, and minority Democrats command enough votes to sustain that veto. Boy, that's just the way it's going to be, right? Seems that way anyway. Well, how about this? Officials, U.S. to increase the number of refugees by 5,000 next year. Well, I got a lot to say about that. The United States is prepared to increase the number of refugees that it resettles by at least 5,000 next year as European countries struggle to accommodate tens of thousands of refugees from the Middle East and Africa. Two officials and congressional aide said that Secretary of State John Kerry told members of Congress in a private meeting today that the United States will boost its worldwide quota for resettling refugees from 70,000 to 75,000 next year. And that number could rise. A fraction of those would be from Syria. Kerry said after the meeting with members of the Senate Judiciary Committee that the United States would increase the number of refugees that it is willing to take in, but he did not give a specific number. The interesting thing about that is, if you think about what Germany is doing right now, it just doesn't seem quite right to me. Germany's going to take in about 800,000 refugees, and the United States, they're going to wind up bringing in a measly 75,000. Seems like there's something wrong with that to me, or at least, it seems to be the case. So, we'll see what happens. Who knows what's going to happen around here, but that's definitely going to be the case as we move along. I'm pretty sure. Well, how about this? Battle is shaping up in European Union over migrant quotas. Well, the European Union implored its member countries today to better share the burden of refugees flooding the continent, but the numbers involved were small compared with the 500,000 who have already arrived and the hundreds of thousands more on their way. With Syrians, Eritreans, and Afghans often hoping to settle in wealthy nations like Germany and Sweden, the European Union is struggling to find a more equitable solution that would also send a fair share of refugees to less desirable and less welcoming places such as Slovakia and the Baltics. Hours after the European Union Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker said Europe had a historic duty to act and relocate 160,000 who have arrived in overwhelmed Hungary, Greece, and Italy, a number of Eastern European and Baltic states vowed to reject the imposition of any kind of quotas from Brussels. Go figure. I mean, you know what? Don't we have an obligation just to humanity in general to do something about this? I would certainly think so. I mean, gosh, just I feel like that's what has to happen. How about you? Well, here's another one for you. Another Christie ally implicated in a spin-off investigation. Well, what began as a mysterious series of traffic jams at the George Washington Bridge exactly 2 years ago has mushroomed into a high-level corporate scandal that can't be good for Republican Governor Chris Christie's struggling presidential campaign. United Airlines CEO Jeffrey Smisek and two other top executives abruptly resigned yesterday amid a federal investigation into the possible trading of favors between the airline and David Sampson, the Christie-appointed former head of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, the powerful agency that runs area tunnels, bridges, and airports. When Sampson was in charge at the Port Authority, United resumed direct flights to the South Carolina airport near his vacation home around the same time. United was pressing for concessions from the agency, including a new hangar at the Newark airport, rent reductions, and a commuter rail line extension that would connect the airport directly to Lower Manhattan. No one has been charged in the case. A spokeswoman for Sampson today said only that Smisek's resignation is a United Airlines matter. A Port Authority representative had no comment. Well, gosh, does that surprise you? Doesn't surprise me, not at all. Well, in Kentucky, a clerk disrupts an unspoken agreement. Kim Tabor hates to answer the phone these days because so often the caller starts screaming. Tabor works for the Rowan County Circuit Court clerk, which keeps track of criminal and civil filings in a town that prides itself on peace and quiet. Marriages are handled across the street where Rowan County Clerk Kim Davis has ignited the passions of religious conservatives around the world by refusing to authorize weddings for anyone since the Supreme Court legalized gay marriage nationwide. Tabor said, people have called from all over, confusing the two offices. They ask for Kim, and when she answers, they don't wait for her explanation before they start screaming. In this eastern Kentucky town, now center stage in a national conflict, angry words and gestures have too often replaced quiet conversation, or more often, silence on a subject deeply personal to both sides. But many who will remain after the television truck go away hope things will actually get better. It's just a sad thing, and I didn't want to actually make a comment on this, but the truth is, it's the law of the land. Whether you like it or not, or you agree with it or not, it is the law of the land. You know what? If you don't like it, or if it goes against your religious convictions, you know what? You took an oath to uphold the law. If you're not going to do it, quit your job. That's all you got to do. Just quit your job. That's what you got to do. Now, do not go away. When we come back, we've got more news for you. We're going to talk about the future of TV is apps. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we're talking news. Absolutely. You know what? Apple stakes new claim to living room shows and new iPhones. Apple staked a new claim to the living room on today as the maker of iPhones and other handheld gadgets unveiled an internet TV system that's designed as a beachhead for the tech giant's broader ambitions to deliver a wide range of information, games, music, and video to the home. CEO Tim Cook and other executives also showed off two new iPhone models, a plus-size iPhone pad with detachable keyboard and updated software for the Apple Watch during an exhaustive 2-hour event in San Francisco's Bill Graham Civic Auditorium. Apple's counting on sales of the new iPhones to maintain its position as one of the most profitable and valuable companies in the world. But its new Apple TV system that some analysts point to as an important step for the company as Cook attempts to build a business that doesn't rely so heavily on the iPhone. Apple is laying the groundwork for a broader living room strategy, said analyst Ben Bajaran from the research firm Creative Strategies. Apple wants to make the already important TV screen into an essential hub for communication and entertainment, he said. Well, you know what? I got to tell you, that's just smart business. You got to move ahead or you need to just fall behind. That's exactly what will happen if you don't continue to move ahead. That's just, you know what, guys? That's just the way it is. That's the way it works. And if you don't move forward, you lose. How about this? Arizona's investigating another possible freeway shooting. Well, a truck passenger's window shattered on a Phoenix freeway today as Arizona authorities investigated a string of highway shootings that have rattled nerves and heightened fears of a possible serial shooter. The State Department of Public Safety has not yet confirmed whether the glass was shot out. Nobody was hurt, the agency spokesman Bert Graves said. Authorities were already investigating 9 shootings of vehicles over the past 2 weeks. 4 cars were hit last week along the city's main freeway way. One bullet shattered a windshield, and the broken glass cut a 13-year-old girl. The other rounds hit a headlight and the sides of the vehicles. Then, yesterday, police announced that they were investigating 5 more shootings, including one that shattered the window of an off-duty police sergeant's vehicle as he drove to work. Now, today, investigators raced to a gas station after the driver of a white truck pulled off Interstate 10 with a shattered window. Boy, I'll tell you what. I don't know what is actually doing this stuff, but can't we have some peace in this world? I mean, doesn't that just make sense? Just a little bit of peace? Yeah. Well, how about this? A U.S. company pleads guilty to conspiracy over halal exports. Well, a company that markets food products to observant Muslims has pleaded guilty into its role in exporting misbranded meat products. Now, Miramar Corporation entered the plea today to conspiracy to make false statements on export certificates, sell misbranded meat, and commit wire fraud. Miramar is expected to forfeit $600,000 under a plea agreement. Despite the guilty plea, the plea deal allows Miramar to ask an appeals court to dismiss the charges based on arguments that they were regulatory, not criminal violations. A judge rejected that claim. Miramar says it has taken full responsibility for wrongful conduct that occurred between 2007 and 2012. Company founder Bill Osei was earlier convicted as part of a scheme to export beef to Malaysia and Indonesia that didn't meet those countries' standards. Man, you know what? Where there's smoke, there is certainly fire, right? You gotta figure. Well, here's one for you. Flight 93 Visitor Center tells incredible story of heroism. Gordon Felt knew his brother was sitting directly in front of 2 of the terrorists who hijacked United Airlines Flight 93, but it never really hit me, Felt said, until he walked through a new immersive visitor center at the Flight 93 National Memorial. There it was. The seating chart with his sibling's name on it, Edward Felt, first class, second row. Now, it kind of came crashing back, said Felt, whose brother took part in a passenger revolt that brought the plane down in a southwestern Pennsylvania field. Those feelings that were always there, the emotion, the anger, the sense of loss, really are drawn back to the surface. Sitting on a hill overlooking the crash site near Shanksville, the $26 million visitor center complex will be dedicated and open to the public on Thursday, one day before the annual 9/11 observances in Pennsylvania, New York, and Washington. Victims' family members got a private tour today, as it should be. Heroes, every single one of them. Well, Ecuador moves to shut down the Press Freedom Group. Yeah, you heard me right. President Rafael Correa's government has initiated proceedings to shut down Ecuador's sole remaining Press Freedom Group, accusing fundamenticos of political partisanship. The watchdog group was notified today in a letter from the Communications Secretariat Director Cesar Ricuret. And we were told that actually just today. The letter accused fundamenticos of publishing essays and tweets of indisputably political bent, but did not offer specifics. It was signed by Fernando Alvarado, the Communications Secretary. It's an absurd accusation, Ricuret said, who contended that Fundamenticos was targeted for denouncing government attacks on journalists. He said the group was given 10 days to defend itself before a government ruling. Don't you just get sick of hearing about the news? Boy, I can tell you, I sure do. How about this? No charges in a public killing of rock-throwing orchard worker. 3 police officers in Washington state who fatally shot a rock-throwing Mexican immigrant in February will not face criminal charges, a prosecutor announced today, saying there was no evidence that the officers acted with malice. The death of Antonio Zambrano Montes, 35 years old, was captured on cell phone video and sparked months of protests in Pasco, an agricultural center in eastern Washington. Witnesses said Zambrano Montez fought with an officer, threw rocks, and told officers to shoot him before they opened fire. At a news conference repeatedly interrupted by protesters today, Franklin County Prosecutor Sean Sant said the evidence showed the officers used legal force as they tried to arrest a man who had assaulted them and was threatening to attack them further. Sant said he could not meet the high bar for criminal prosecution under Washington state law, which requires a showing that the officers acted with malice and without good faith, that their actions were justified. Well, makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah, sure it does. If you think about it, it does. Let's see here. What else we got going on? Hey, how about this? A Vegas plane fire, passengers escaped with their lives and their bags. Passengers on the British Airways jet, whose engine caught fire just before takeoff in Las Vegas, escaped with their lives and some with their carry-ons as well. While flight crews tell people to leave belongings behind in an evacuation, pilots say they seem increasingly inclined to grab whatever they brought on board, and sometimes even a selfie or two. We're always shaking our heads, said Chris Mano, a veteran pilot with a major U.S. airline who took to social media today to slam those pictured on the Vegas tarmac with bulky cabin bags. It doesn't matter what you say. People are going to do what they do. The engine on the London-bound Boeing 777-200 caught fire yesterday as the plane was gathering speed. Though the evacuation was swift, officials said today that 27 of the 170 passengers or crew on board required hospital treatment for cuts, bruises, or other minor injuries, mostly from the evacuation slides. That's so stupid. People are trying to save their lives. And people, I just don't get it. I mean, do you? I don't get it. Not at all. Let's not save your life. Let's just save your bags. Can there be any more stupid things going on? I don't think so. Not at all. Well, 4 Las Vegas police officers shot in the last 2 months. You know what? 4 Las Vegas police officers have been wounded on-the-job shootings in the last 2 months, but Clark County Sheriff Joe Lombardo declined today to attribute the attacks to a war on cops. Lombardo added to a roll call of local officers wounded since July the 10th the names of the officers shot and killed near Houston in August the 28th and on suburban Chicago on September the 1st, and he told reporters that he's concerned about copycats targeting police elsewhere to gain attention and headlines. More often than not, they want to put their name to a crime, said the elected top cop of more than 2,500 sworn police and 750 corrections officers. Las Vegas Metropolitan Police cover a county that is home to 2 million people and a hotel and casino strip that draws some 40 million visitors a year. Yeah, boy, isn't that the truth? Absolutely it is. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, I'm going to do the IRS loses. I'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live, and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. To discover how to make the interview work for you, call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. Aho Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. Actually, I'm running a little bit long because the clocks got messed up this time, and it was my fault. Nothing to do with the technology. We're running at 100%. I couldn't be happier, but we're playing catch up. So let's get right to the IRS loses. First up, a telephone hearing can be recorded. Now, when Emery Seaman faced a levy for back taxes, he requested a collection due process hearing, and the IRS scheduled one to be held by telephone. He then told the IRS that he intended to record that hearing, but the IRS responded that this wasn't allowed. Now, when Seaman insisted that the IRS said that they had forfeited his right to a hearing, Seaman went to court, and this is what the conflict was. The tax code specifically allows taxpayers to record CDP hearings, but the IRS said that it does so only with in-person hearings. So they went to court, and this is what the judge said. I mean, does that make any sense to you? Doesn't to me. Here's what the judge said. A phone call can be considered made in person, and there is no logic as to why face-to-face hearings can be recorded, but phone hearings can't. That's crazy. So Seaman gets his hearing. It's just common sense, right? That's what I think it is. Absolutely. Well, let's talk about this. How about the IRS loses? They sent a notice to the wrong address when they knew the right one. Here's the deal. David Buffano filed a tax return from Wheaton, Illinois. He then moved to Milford, Illinois, and reported his move to the United States Post Office. When he didn't file later years' returns to the IRS, an IRS office sent notices to his Milford address. Now, when he didn't reply, another IRS office sent a final levy notice to the Wheaton address, the alternate address, right? Now, when Buffano didn't receive it until after the deadline for answering, he argued that it was invalid since it was misaddressed. Well, the IRS says the notice was properly sent to the address on his last filed tax return, but this is what a wise judge said. That is the proper address only if the IRS doesn't have a later, better one in its files, which it absolutely did. So the notice that the IRS sent was, can you guess? Yeah, invalid. That's the way it's supposed to be. Absolutely. Yeah, you ever want to be a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing things? Well, that's where we're at right now with Inside the IRS, and let me get right to it because I've only got about 30 seconds to get this section done. You know, the IRS and the employees who get tips, that's what we're going to talk about. The IRS has always played catch-up in enforcing the laws on reporting tips. Employers are reluctant to alienate employees by enforcing the IRS's stringent record-keeping rules, and tipped employees who work primarily in restaurants feel immune to the rules when they receive cash tips. It's somewhat harder to avoid reporting credit card tips. Under existing law, the IRS is allowed to estimate the amount of unreported tip income received by a restaurant's employees and make the employer pay that FICA tax on their estimated amount. Now, a potential new protection for employers is House Bill H.R. 2034, which was introduced and would make an employer liable for FICA tax on unreported tips only after the IRS establishes the amount of tip income received by the employees. Now, the IRS can project tip income based on a restaurant's gross income. You know, that's got to drive you nuts, right? It certainly drives me nuts. Anyway, do not go away, because when we come back, we're going to be talking to our own Joel Saltzman, and Joel's going to be here with us shortly, so do not go away. We'll be right back after these brief messages.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape musk from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:34 p.m. Pacific time. It is currently 87 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, that's down from 104 degrees on its way to 75. I can't wait for the 75. But you know what? We've got somebody waiting in the wings. He's got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of Apple stuff going on. So you know what? Let's bring in our own Dr. Wireless, Mr. Joel Saltzman. Hey, Joel. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Robert. How are you?
I'm doing good.
I'm out here today, too, so you're not alone.
Well, that's good to know. That's good to know. Lots of stuff going on with Apple today, huh?
Oh, my God. Very long press conference, but they introduced quite a bit of stuff. We all know what they introduced, but here's something I'll bet you didn't know they introduced. How about an Apple Watch? They collaborated with Hermes.
Oh, really?
So they're going high-end, fashion house.
Wow.
Unspecified price.
Well,
if you have to ask how much it is, you can't afford it.
Well, didn't they, when they first came out with the Apple Watch, didn't they have one that was supposed to be like 10 grand?
They did. And again, we were talking about how that was, technology that was going to be antiquated when the new version came out 6 months later. So this thing's actually attractive, got the leather band, but again, I still have a problem with paying big money for technology when we know it's going to change.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well, we got the iPad Pro that we were talking about. We were hoping, we had talked about the 12.9-inch, iPad Pro, which they say is basically the Surface on steroids. I like that.
Yeah.
But it's got a pen, and it's got their new A9 64-bit chip, which is almost twice as fast. A bunch of upgrades, but beautiful device. And they debuted the Apple Pencil feature. They've got, I guess it charges with a Lightning port as well. But pretty impressive. It supports, they actually brought Microsoft on stage to support the Office on these devices, which was interesting. But the big thing was new is Apple TV. And we all knew that was coming. The interesting thing is they integrated Siri with it. So you can basically use Siri, to say, pull up action-adventure movies or, pull up James Bond movies. So you can be specific, or you can say while you're watching a movie, you can say, Siri, what did she say? And it'll run it back 15 seconds and tell you what she said and even show you subtitles.
Oh, that's cool.
So you can filter searches by directors, by actors. You can say, Siri, show me the latest kids' movies. So it's interesting. It's a new ball game. I mean, everybody's got the streaming TV, but Apple, by integrating Siri and doing some of the things they're doing, suddenly became relevant to me. I wasn't really impressed with this stuff until I saw the demo.
Oh yeah.
So. Very interesting stuff. So we'll have to see how well that goes over. I think it's going to go over pretty big, though, from what I can see.
Well, just talking about Apple, and I'm just going to take a moment of your time to announce the fact that we have our new Apple app available. Just go to the App Store and search Robert Cardoza Live, and the new app's available where you can actually listen to our archive show, listen to our show live. You can actually chat with us while we're doing our live show, and it's right there on the Apple Store, or actually the Apple Store, I guess you call it, and the app's available.
I downloaded it, Robert.
You already got it?
I already got it.
Oh, fantastic. And then we also have one for Android. So if you need to get that, Android or Windows products, you can just go to Google Play and search Robert Cardoza Live, and that'll pick it up. And it's all free, folks. So listen, I'm glad you got it.
Yeah, I was actually bagging on you last week because you told me you had an Android app. And I said, well, how about for iPhone users?
Well, now we got them all. Now we'll see, what the response is going to be.
Yeah, well, I have it downloaded. I haven't had a chance to use it yet, but it downloaded very quickly and easily, with your instructions. And So I'm anxious to give it a try.
Yep. You know what? I think I downloaded mine a little too fast, and so I got a little snafu in it. I can see the chat part, but I don't. I actually have so many different programs on here. I got to go to a different place to listen to the live show, which is hard to do when I'm actually doing the live show.
I hear you.
Anyway, I didn't mean to take that thunder from you. I just wanted to get that out.
Not a problem. Well, everybody wants to hear about the new iPhone S, the 6S and 6S Plus. So we're going to tease you and hold off a little bit on that and talk about some other stuff. I hate when they do that to me, so I want to see how it feels, shoes on the other foot.
Yeah, hey, listen, are the iPhones going to be waterproof so that you can actually stick them in your back pocket while you go surfing?
Well, if you buy one of those special cases made by, there's a few companies that make them, but out of the box, no, thank God. But there is a new development here. We have Periscope. I don't know if you remember them. They were kind of a division of Twitter. They got in a little bit of trouble because they were simulcasting one of those Mayweather fights.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and kind of illegally. Well, Periscope's owned by Twitter, and Periscope is secretly building an Apple TV app.
Oh, really?
So I thought that was interesting because, I'm getting it from multiple sources, but it's going to allow users to watch live streams on their TV that are broadcasted from Twitter's Periscope app. So something's interesting, but that's part. Apple didn't mention anything about it, but I'm hearing from developers that they've okayed it and it's going to happen. So I thought that was interesting. You know, everybody's getting into everything these days as far as these companies.
Yeah. You know, it's amazing. I mean, the technology. Do you get complacent about this? Because it's so exciting to me. All of this new technology and these new things that are coming out, and it just boggles my mind how you can even keep up with it because it's just so many changes every day.
Oh, it's nuts! It's nuts. It's not, in fact, and here's the latest one. Google is now in the home delivery grocery business. How about that one?
Oh, that's nuts.
With Whole Foods.
Well, do you know, I remember years ago.
Even with everybody these days.
You know what? Years ago, I actually tried that. I don't know if you ever did it or not. And I tried to shop online. The problem with it was you never did quite get what you would have gotten had you shopped yourself in the store. You know, picking the produce that was just right or the cuts of meat that was just right. You know, you ordered it and they just threw it in a box and you got what you got. And so I was kind of disappointed in it. I didn't do that very often. I wound up, getting off my lazy butt and driving the block or 2 or 3 to my local grocery store and just picking out what I wanted to get.
Well, my wife goes to the farmers markets, on Saturday and Sunday and gets everything fresh. So, she's used to doing it in France that way, I guess, and that's what she does here. So I don't mind. Everything's good. Yeah,
but it's got to taste a lot better, Joel, when you're getting fresh produce and fresh fruits and vegetables and stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Before I forget, I just wanted to mention, did you hear anything about the, everybody uses WhatsApp, which I've endorsed. Mm-hmm. There's 200 million users. Well, all of those users are at risk right now because apparently there's some malware that it's a flaw that allows people to distribute malware, including ransomware. And I don't know if you've heard about ransomware. Oh, yeah. Well, I just went through. I've been having technological problems. Most of it because of viruses and Trojan horses and stuff like that. I had bought all this software that was supposed to keep my computer clean, and I used all kinds of stuff every morning before I get started. Turns out that the stuff that I had bought was actually putting viruses on my computer. Yes. Yeah. You should have talked to me about that because that's the big scam. And miraculously, what happens is you get these pop-ups. You start having a problem, then you get this pop-up. Wouldn't you love to clear away if you're having this problem? Yeah. And you think, well, how convenient. Yeah. You sign up for that, and they scan a million different things and say you got 800,000 of this and that and this and that, and then they show that they got rid of it, but they're actually putting more stuff on there. Yeah. Trying to sell you additional, patches, and it's crazy. Well, it's interesting. When I had my nephew come out, who was a kind of a computer guru, and he was going through my computer, which is not even maybe 8 months old, right? The system that I've got. And
and he found something like 31 or 36 different viruses that he was able to get out. But there was 3 of them. He said he couldn't figure out how the heck to get them out. He was going to get somebody to give him some help, and I finally got frustrated. And I called this young man who's got a degree in computer science that used to work on my computers when I was in private practice. And he connected remotely to my computer. He took off all that garbage that shouldn't be there. He put in another program in there and found 138 more viruses we didn't even know about.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I want to leave some information here because everybody's going to want to contact me when I give you this next piece of information. And anybody who does want to contact me can do so at Joel at D as in David, R as in Rabbit, wireless.com. Or they can go to our site, www.drwireless.com. Or they can even call me at 310-400-4900. And what I'm going to mention right now is one of our favorite resellers of T-Mobile just upped the game. They're now offering 5 times more data than they previously did on their $29 deal. So I now have a plan, Robert, that is $29 a month to month, no activation cost. SIM card's $1. And it gives you unlimited voice, unlimited text, unlimited 2G data. It previously gave 100 megabytes of 4G. Now it gives 500 megabytes of 4G LTE. So that's perfect for people that are doing email, doing some light web browsing, and want to spend under $30 a month and never have any surprises because there's no way you can ever be charged for data. And that includes global texting as well.
Okay, so keep that surprise and the rest of the surprises until we come back from this commercial break. We'll be right back with our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman, after these brief messages. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Dr. Wireless, Mr. Joel Saltzman. Hey, Joel, what's up?
All right. Before I give everybody the meat and potatoes, just wanted to finish up on this Solivay deal, the T-Mobile reseller we were talking about. $29 gets you 500 megabytes of 4G data, unlimited 2G. Again, no way you can ever have overage fees. $39 gets you an extra gigabyte. Now 2 gigs, $49, 3 gigs. So basically it's a gig more in every plan. And again, these are great deals for people who want the lowest possible cost. They even have a $24 a month deal. Unlimited voice, unlimited text. You can use a smartphone. We turn off data. You use Wi-Fi, smartphone without the stupid plan. Some people love that. Anyhow, here comes the goods. As we had correctly predicted, the iPhone 6S and 6 Plus S are the 2 new devices. They basically put a new chip. It's a new A9 processor, which is twice as powerful, a little more efficient, and it's got a built-in motion coprocessor, which in English is just going to allow them to do monitoring and health and fitness monitoring, with apps, as well as being able to use the Hey Siri feature, which we'll talk about. So, new gaming features for gamers include lasers and blurring and some new functionality. Everything's at 60 frames per second. It's the same colors as before, except they just added a 4th new color. All of them are metal. So it's metal finishes. It's silver, it's gold, it's gray. As before, aluminum rose gold is the new one. The camera they call the EyeSight. It's 12 megapixels, so it's double what the other one was in terms of quality, better photos, better video. They added a new 5 megapixel selfie front camera, and they integrated the screen to act as a flash and light up 3 times as bright when necessary. They have a new thing, Robert, which is amazing, called Live Photo. I saw this demonstrated. You take your pictures as you normally do, and you have an option when you play them back. And if you hit the live feature, it makes water shimmer. It makes cars move. It adds sound. It's amazing. But we'll talk about it next week, but just remarkable. They also added 4K HD video. So when you're recording with video, you're now recording in 4K. So if you can afford one of those fancy 4K monitors, you're in business.
Wow. Wow.
They made it stronger, too. They have a new glass, which they're making with this special ion exchange process, which sounded pretty technical and fancy. And if it works as well as they said, it'll be great. It makes it smaller, lighter, and more durable. The big takeaway from this is they went from multi-touch. Remember multi-touch on our current devices?
Yeah.
We could press, we could pinch, we could swipe up, down. We thought that was cool. Wait till you see 3D touch. It's called force, peak, and pop. And what you do basically is you press down, and that will allow you to, depending on how far you press down, allows you to do different things. It detects. There's a sensor that detects how hard you press. So minor press will open up a particular app, and then if you want to peek at it, you give it another press. So in other words, if you're in mail and you see something you're interested in, you press it, it'll open it up, and then if you press it again, it opens everything up. So it's just a way of opening up applications very quickly from your main screen without going to the individual app. Sounds complex. We'll put a video up explaining how that works. But it's going to work with most popular applications. So glad about that. And then the fingerprint sensor, they supposedly speed it up. That drives me nuts sometimes. I'm hoping that's it.
Well, you know what? Actually, I got to be honest, because mine is fast. It works fast.
Mine doesn't recognize me sometimes. I've got multiple fingers set up, and it doesn't matter which one I put. Some days it works, some days it doesn't.
Mine, I just got my thumb and my forefinger from my right hand on it, and I just don't have a problem.
Interesting. Well, here's the interesting thing about this. Apple's mantra this morning was, the only thing that changed is everything. So,
what a scary thought.
It still looks pretty similar to me unless you get that new color. They did add some new features, so that's good. But the main thing is this, as I hate to say, as I predicted, but as I predicted, which wasn't hard to do because Apple does the same thing every year in September, the pricing of the new devices is the exact same as the pricing of the old devices, and the old devices come the end of the month when the new devices become available will all drop $100 each, which makes it a wonderful time to buy a device. Even the older devices.
Oh, yeah.
Be able to get the 6s and 6 Pluses and 5Ss for a fraction of the cost, for $100 less.
Yeah, that's not a fraction.
On the 23rd.
Hey, Joel, that's not a fraction of the cost.
Well, not a fraction. But you know what? A hundy's a hundy.
Yeah, that's true.
Out to dinner with what I save you.
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true. If one of us doesn't eat.
Exactly. I didn't say where. Mickey D's. But anyhow, this is exciting stuff, Robert. We've all been waiting for these phones, and each year they get better. They have more megapixels. The cameras are better. The devices are more efficient. The devices are a little smaller. The technology's better. I think this 3D touch thing is going to be pretty remarkable. I'm excited about that. And there's some other applications, compatibility issue, applications for the watch. I haven't gone out and bought my watch yet, so I don't really have any aspirations to do any of that stuff. But everything is good, and we're seeing a lot of new models. All the other manufacturers brought out new models, so never been a better time to buy a device at this point. And anybody who needs help choosing the right device or plan can feel free to contact us. We're also on Facebook, and that's facebook.com/drwireless. And we have all of this content we talked about today available up there.
So here's the big question. Did you switch to Sprint to get your $20 a month 6 Plus?
I did not. And you would not believe the adventure I've had. As you know, I represent Sprint, T-Mobile, Verizon, and SolarBay, and I have been having a few issues with T-Mobile. They had a problem in my area, and every call would go to missed call. I wouldn't have an opportunity to answer the phone. And it went on for a few weeks, and I was getting ready to port it over to somebody. I have such a ridiculously good demo deal that they gave me that I get the 7 gigabytes of hotspot, unlimited everything, North America plan, for 85% less than the regular rate.
Wow.
So it's like $24 or something for unlimited everything. So I can't walk away from it. As bad as the service was for 2 weeks, I think I may have worked the problem out. I changed SIM cards. I did a million things and reset the phone and all that. And today it's a little better, but it's still an issue. So no, I haven't done that. I do want one of these new devices. I haven't, I can always do the EIP program with T-Mobile, which is likely what I'll do. And that just means that I'll pay $27.84 a month and $100 down or $200 down. I think I would prefer to finance this thing than the lease program.
Oh, I agree with you, because then at least you wind up owning it.
Exactly, and I've talked to people today that are giving me pre-orders for these phones and they're telling me, well, what do I do with my old one? And I'm telling them, I'll buy it from you. And when I tell them how much that I'm giving, guys with 5S's and and 5s, there's market value for those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're more than happy, to resell them for people. We offer a service doing that. We wipe them, resell them. And there's plenty of people out there that would love to have an iPhone that don't need the latest and greatest. And as long as they're in good condition, they work forever.
Yeah.
So, and with these, plans like these Solivay deals, you can put, a kid on a phone for $24. Your kid wants an iPhone. Well, you buy a used iPhone for a couple $100. You put them on our month-to-month Solivay plan for $24. You turn off the mobile data. They can, use the internet if you want with Wi-Fi, but they got unlimited texting and unlimited calling. You can always get a hold of them. They're cool in school because they got the iPhone, and you never have any surprises at the end of the month because they forgot to log off whatever kids.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So what are you going to do, Robert?
Well, you know what? I actually have seriously been thinking about the Sprint deal. I'm kind of a loyal guy, but the truth is I can actually save money. I can do two of these, even if they didn't give me a break on the second one. If I could do two of these deals and spend less money and have brand new 6 Pluses for both my wife and myself. But they
will give you 2.
Oh, they will?
That's no problem.
Oh.
Yeah, that's no problem.
I'm just...
if you want to give it a try, we can always do it. And again, my concern there is, especially for people who tend to lose stuff or, go deep sea fishing and drop them in the water, get the insurance. If you're careful, don't have problems, then you can take a risk.
Yeah.
But, and I know Apple also has a program, a direct program. I haven't really researched it, but I know that they're going to offer some kind of comparable deal to Sprint's.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that might be worth researching, but I'm old-fashioned. I'm leasing the car, but that's because the cost to buy that car versus the cost to lease it was substantially different. When I look at these lease versus finance deals with the cell phone, if it's $10 or $7, I just assume own the thing, and then after 2 years or even after a year, if I decide to upgrade next month, I've got an iPhone 6.
Yeah.
I'll sell the thing for $400 all day long.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And I've always been, I generally don't lease anything. Even when it was in my office, my equipment, I would buy it and I would just amortize it out so that I could replace it on a timely basis. But I always liked the idea that even when I had depreciated it down to 0, it still had value.
Right. And you know what? If you dropped it into a toilet, it wasn't, it was a bummer, but it wasn't a financial catastrophe.
I've got to tell you this, Joel. I actually have done that. I
know many people have done that. I have. Be admitted, Robert, so I commend you to admit it. They dropped it in their swimming pool.
Yeah, I've actually done that, and then and discovered the magical properties of rice.
Rice is a wonderful thing. I always tell people, take the back off if you can. If it's not an iPhone, take the battery out. If it is an iPhone, just put it in a bag of rice, put it away for 24 hours. And a lot of times it dries out, the electronics. I always tell people, if it's not off, turn it off. Don't try turning it on until it's fully dried out. And a lot of times, you'd be surprised.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't. I used a hairdryer. I used all kinds of stuff. Nothing worked. I wound up sinking it in rice, and 24 hours later, everything was working.
Yeah, and that's when you decide it's time to do the upgrade. When people tell me, thank God my clients are honest, but because we buy these phones back, and I always say, tell me. Robert, it's a good device because I can either, do the, consignment and I'll sell it to, somebody, a friend or client, or let's just send it into the carrier, and get their trade in. They get a little less, but they're a little less, as long as it powers up,
Oh, yeah.
It's discriminating.
Oh, yeah.
Your bummer doesn't need to be somebody else's bummer, so I don't like to, take devices that are going to be a problem.
Boy, isn't that the truth?
Falling into the toilet or whatever, we'll send yours in.
Well, give out your contact information. We've got about 10 seconds before we have to go to a commercial break.
All righty, Joel at drwireless.com, www.drwireless.com, and visit us on facebook.com/drwireless.
Hey, Joel, fantastic show, my friend. Thank you so very much. We went off without a hook this time. That was kind of good news. And I'll talk to you next week.
Fair enough. Stay cool out there.
All right, buddy. Go surfing.
Will do.
All right.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:07 p.m. Pacific Time. It is currently 87 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Now, when I say sunny, I mean that's down from 109 today. I don't know what it is in Long Beach. We're about to find out, or Los Angeles, I should say. But it's on its way down to 74. But you know what? He's waiting in the wings. We haven't talked to him for a while. I can't hardly wait. Our own Ray Mailer is going to be telling us about the California climate change bill in the Carlsbad desalination plant today. And who knows what else he's going to talk about. You know what? Let's get him in here.
I find this American pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye and singing, "This'll be the day that I die."
And now, from the National Archives of Public Planning, located in the basement of his Long Beach Reference Library, the unappreciated but widely acknowledged expert on past, present, and future infrastructure planning, let's welcome Mr. Ray Mailer and his American Grid.
welcome aboard. Good to have you here, my friend. And we're in our new time slot. We are syndicated all over the place. The equipment and the technology, everything is working. It's, I've lost what little hair I had left getting this thing going. And now I'm excited because I'm pretty sure you're going to tell me that we're going to get it again from California, and they're not even going to provide the Vaseline for us.
Yeah, well, in a manner of speaking, yes. I'm gonna just try to report the facts as they are. But before I get started, I will mention I'm excited about all the technology changes that you've implemented, and I'm glad to still be part of the show. And I am here to talk about some news about a desalination plant that some folks know about that's opening in Carlsbad, and also got a few machinations going on with climate change legislation going on in Sacramento.
Well, exciting.
Exactly. So let's start out with our desalination plant in Carlsbad. So folks know that some folks know it's scheduled to open the largest desalination plant in the Western Hemisphere. And it's supposed to happen in the next month or two, certainly by November. And the San Diego mayor, Kevin Faulconer, referred to this opening as San Diego taking matters of its water future into its own hands. And the reality is that this plant, which is desalinating the ocean water from drawn in from the Pacific in Carlsbad, is expected to deliver about 7 to 10% of the San Diego region's water needs at double the cost of imported water. Although we should hasten to add that this particular desalination plant represents actually halving the previous cost of desalinated water, owing to some advances in membrane technology. So it's a net good, and in as much as it's providing a nice bit of the region's water, I'm sure it's going to become an asset to the San Diego region's water infrastructure. And it does represent a 14-year development and construction plan and $1 billion spent. But apparently the numbers are all going to work out, and San Diegans are going to enjoy, really for the first time, one of its first large local water sources. San Diego, for as big as it is, has always depended heavily upon water from the north. Let's see. I wanted to. There was also a association meeting of some water professionals in San Diego, and I believe they gathered in San Diego on account of the imminent opening of the plant. But they apparently had a kind of a roundtable session where these water professionals were talking about how to sell water projects, and there's some lessons here. There's general, there's kind of the bland approach, which is to remind the public that desalination and water projects cost money, but that money is less than the cost of a drought. So that's a little bit of a hard sell.
Well, you know what? But it's interesting that you would say that because, for some reason I was under the impression that desalination plants were just exorbitantly expensive and not cost effective. But that's really not the case, is it?
Well, they are still more expensive than imported water here in California, but they've certainly made a tremendous advance. I mean, basically, it used to be about $4,000 an acre foot. That's now down to $2,000 an acre foot.
Why is that?
Extraordinary. Yeah, which is no small accomplishment. That is a tremendous advance. But imported water still runs around $1,000 an acre foot.
Well, I've been complaining about my water bill, right? And
yes.
And I just got my last water bill just about a couple days ago. We have, because now that my backyard is dying, not the shrubs and the planters and stuff, but the lawn is, because I turned it off, had to do something. I was getting these $618 bills. I have lowered my water usage by 47%, and I got a $318 bill.
Hey,
that's half.
Good.
That's half almost.
Congratulations. Well, you must be one of the people that have contributed tremendously to the state's success and we're apparently ahead of the a governor's goal to cut our water usage by 25%. Statewide, I think we're already in the high 20s or maybe about 30%.
Well, you know what? I don't mean to take you off of where you were meaning to go, but you know, when we start talking about we're saving all of this water and water is still very expensive, we're actually looking at an El Nino that we could have some serious flooding issues, huh?
You are right. And certainly the talk among in the media and among friends and neighbors is, okay, what's the condition of your roof? Are you ready for you're ready for a lot of rain? And I know my wife and I, we are kind of buttoning down the hatches. We know the roofs are in good shape, but now we're starting to pay attention to other things. Any other gaps, making sure windows are in good shape, well sealed, and things like that. So, yeah, it's kind of prompting us to make sure we're caught up on maintenance.
But no matter what happens to us in this coming winter, and I mean, we actually have flood warnings right now in Riverside and San Bernardino County, and because of some storm that kind of snuck up on us here. But even if we have this El Nino that gives us lots and lots of rainfall, and we may or may not be able to hold on to that water, it's really not going to even tip the scales in what we need to have to solve our problem, is it?
Yeah, probably not. I think generally what we're looking for, if it's a kind of a typical good El Nino year, we may still need 2 or 3 of them to kind of finish catching up. And to a certain extent, it kind of depends on where it rains and snows, because we need particularly snow where we have these reservoir systems in place
in the Sierras.
Yeah, in the Sierras and mostly the northern Sierras.
So how about now when we get these kinds of rain, and I don't know that it's actually going to go as far as Las Vegas could, but they get a lot of rain. Is it potentially possible that Lake Mead could come back up to normal levels, or does it fill the aquifers first?
That's a great question. I would tend to think, aquifers require, percolation time, whereas reservoirs, they get filled up with channels and rivers and things. So the reservoirs tend to fill up first, but the percolation down in the aquifers, that takes more time. I would just guess the reservoirs are going to tend to fill up sooner, but hopefully we'll still get aquifer recharge as well.
Well, whatever happens is better than what we've been getting for the last 6 years or 7 years, right?
Absolutely. When we had these water officials gathered in San Diego, they took a look at some sort of San Diego water project, which the marketing geniuses in San Diego, or for this particular agency, labeled it toilet to tap. And that apparently doomed the project.
Yeah, I would think. I mean, what? If you're a marketing guy, whoever came up with that needs to be replaced.
Yeah. Well, the Singapore officials, they had their a project underway, and they gave it this kind of cumbersome name: indirect potable use of recovered water. Okay, it doesn't sound terribly bad, not like toilet to tap, but it's kind of long. Well, apparently the Australian water representatives had the best idea of all. They had a campaign for a desalination plant that compared the cost of the plant to about 1 beer per week.
Oh, really? Are you kidding?
Yeah. which I thought, that works in Australia. It probably worked pretty well here.
Yeah. 1 beer per week. All right.
Anyway, we also learned a couple of other desalination plants. The Saudis are building the world's largest desal plant, and it's going to run entirely on solar power.
Oh, really? Well, that makes sense, though, doesn't it? You could do a desalination plant here in Southern California that way too.
We could, yeah, absolutely. We've got just almost as much sunshine as the Saudis, so I don't see why we couldn't. Yeah, it's an excellent idea. Well, there is another desalination plant. The same company that built the Carlsbad one is trying to build another one in Huntington Beach. And they submitted last week what they hope will be their final permit application with the state's Coastal Commission. Now, Poseidon, the firm that's building this, had withdrawn its previous permit application in 2013 on the grounds that it intended to comply with environmentalist requests that they modify the intake systems to be a little bit more friendly to the fish. Well, this resubmitted application has made little change on the fish intake systems, but and the environmentalists, or some of them anyway, are already gearing up, and they're citing, these environmentalists are citing that the state citizens have already saved more water under these mandatory reductions we're working under.
So you know what? Hold that thought, because we've got to go to a commercial break. Let's bring that back as a teaser right after these brief messages. We're talking to our own Ray Mailer, and we'll be right back after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live, and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses: website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, General Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Ray Mailer with his American Grid, and Ray is talking about water and Vaseline, or was it Vaseline and water, or what was it? We weren't talking about Vaseline at all, were we, Ray?
Yeah, we were talking about water. We were talking about salty water.
Hey, listen, by the way, did you know that we have out all of our apps now? Our Apple app is out. It's available on the Apple Store, and it's absolutely free of charge. Just go there and search Robert Cardoza Live, and the app is there. You can download that. You can listen to the show live. It'll remind you that the shows are on. You can actually chat with us live while the show is ongoing. And if you don't have an Apple product and you've got an Android or a Windows product, you can just go to the GooglePlay.com and download the Android section of that, or whatever the hell they call it, the Android app there for you. So, yeah, I just want to get that out, Ray.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that, and I just wanted to let you know I've already downloaded the app, and it works great. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, great.
So we were talking about the desalination facility, the proposed one in Huntington Beach, and that Poseidon, the developer of the project, had recently submitted its permit application from the Coastal Commission. So, and one of the environmental groups, the Orange County Coast Keeper, cited that the state citizens have already saved more water under the mandatory reductions than this plant could hope to produce. And, to which we say, that's good. We're really glad we saved the water, but I don't know about you, but I personally am looking forward to being able to use a little bit more water around the house, once environmental conditions, make it prudent to do so. And the Orange County Register feels pretty similarly about this. The plant's going to provide 8% of Orange County's water needs, enough for 300,000 residents, on an ongoing basis. And in as much as our population is probably going to continue to increase, we're going to need more water. So we may need to be more conservative about it, as well as increase our production. And before we leave water, I thought I'd let the audience know about our excellent progress for the first 3 months of our mandatory reductions. The governor had set a goal of reducing 25% each month, and we're apparently somewhere in the neighborhood of 30%.
Wow.
Yeah. This is enough water, and it's probably owing entirely to your savings. I think you should get a gold medal for this.
You know what? I got to tell you, it was very frustrating. I know, my son-in-law and my daughter they actually saved something. I think they said something like 37 or 38% over last year, and I was sweating bullets. I didn't think I was ever going to be able to do it, and the only way that I was able to do it was to turn off the water in my backyard.
You might be interested to know, I had read, and I think it comes from one of the water agencies, that they do want us to continue watering our trees. So to be sure to continue doing that, because they're actually a key part in kind of holding our water better, and it's apparently a good, efficient use of water, as well as cleaning the air and keeping things looking pretty.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? And I didn't know that, but I was doing that anyway, because we've got trees along the entire perimeter of our yard, and for privacy and other things as well. If I walk into my backyard, I cannot see a neighbor's house, but I can see the beautiful mountains right that we're at the base of, and we see all of that stuff. But we consciously decided we were going to water all the shrubs and plants and flowers and the trees, and so it looks like we're doing a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, did you know that in these first 3 months, we have saved 415,000 acre feet of water? You may scratch your head and say, well, what does that really mean?
Yeah.
That's enough water for 800,000 families for a year.
Wow.
Yeah, and if we're still thinking that a family is about 4 people, that's over 3 million people we have saved water for an entire year. So I thought that's starting to get pretty measurable. Even though we've got somewhere in the mid 30s or high 30 million people here, that's a lot.
It is, and the only, and I hate to be a doubting Thomas, because the last time we had a drought and we were putting bricks in our toilet bowls, or not the bowls, but the tanks, and doing all this stuff to try and conserve water. What the water company did was just raise the price of water, and we never got any relief. We just used less water, right? And somehow in the back of my head, I'm thinking, well, we're heading in that same direction, but we don't have a choice.
Yeah, could be. Although, I say if the population is going to continue to increase, we do need to increase our water capacity.
Yes,
we need to add some supply. We can be smarter about our use, but I think we also need to add supply. Generally in California, we've always used less water than many of the states back east. We're probably heading a little bit more in that drier direction, but we still don't want everything to be brown.
Well, let me ask you this: if we're going to have if we can attribute the El Nino and all the weather things that are going on to global warming, and we're going to have these issues going on not only here, but we're going to have horrendous, I'm guessing, winters even worse than we've had in the East and Midwest, and in the South. We're headed for some pretty tough stuff for the citizens of the United States, aren't we?
Yeah, we could. I don't know. Maybe I'm one of the 200 scientists who are still thinking, let's let a little bit more data come in. I'm just looking at anecdotally at what I'm seeing, and nothing really is completely out of the norms. This 4 or 5 year drought that we've had 8 and 9 year droughts of with similar lack of water here in California, and only in the last 100 years that we've been monitoring this. Big storms in the Midwest, big snowstorms. I remember many of them when I was a kid, and in fact, loved them. Hurricane hitting the Gulf Coast. Every once in a while, you really get whammed, and the same is true for the Northeast. I'm not saying I'm a naysayer. I'm just saying, well, maybe we should be making prudent changes.
Yeah.
There are some proposals that want to radically restructure entire economies. I would say, maybe prudence. But the other thing to remember that's often forgotten in this climate change science is the weather. If the weather effects we're experiencing now are due to climate change, the carbon dioxide emitted in the atmosphere, or it reflects carbon dioxide emitted about 50 years ago. And so, if we're making changes now,
it's a long-term issue.
Yeah, it's very much a long-term issue, and I'm not saying to be irresponsible about it, but...
Well, here's the thing, but if it is that kind of an issue, and it was a man-caused issue, then man can fix it, and even if it took 50 years, what are we going to start? 50 years from now, or are we going to start now? And the other issue is if we are going to have this kind of weather, and we do know that especially here in California, we're prone to these droughts, long-term droughts, shouldn't we be prudent and actually build an infrastructure that can preserve this stuff?
I agree, absolutely. I think one of the more interesting things I've read in the last 2 or 3 months is that with this particular El Nino, the one concern is that it might tend to hit the southern part of the state, a little bit unusual, yet a lot of our water collection infrastructure is in the north part of the state. Certainly, we will take every advantage with the reservoirs we have available down here. Diamond Valley being one that's kind of close to you, as well as numerous other smaller reservoirs in the San Gabriel Mountains.
But most of what we have are these man-made rivers, or at least they've been blocked rivers that just channel this water right into the ocean and doesn't preserve it at all.
Yeah, that's true. Although, again, for the last 12 to 15 years, we have been building basically flood areas, intentional flood areas. Is it, do we wish at this time we had a few more of those? Of course. But compared to a dozen years ago, we've actually got at least some capacity to recharge our aquifers, especially in the Santa Ana River Basin. San Gabriel River Basin has some, as well as the Los Angeles River Basin. I think I've described in previous shows what will happen is, these areas are flooded and they've usually got berms or some sort of retention system around them.
Well, you would think, Ray,
as the water comes rushing through, divert it into the flood area.
Yeah, absolutely. And you would think, Ray, that if one of the big hot buttons today in Washington, D.C. is infrastructure and rebuilding the infrastructure of the United States, shouldn't part of that be the ability to, if we can ship oil oil 3,000 miles across the country or even farther. Well, don't you think it's about time we started to use that technology to move water across the country?
I think it's an excellent idea. I mean, there are a number of pipeline corridors in place. I don't see why we couldn't do it. And, I don't see why we couldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes sense. But everybody's sitting on their thumbs. Everybody says, we got to do infrastructure. We got to do infrastructure. But nobody is doing it.
Yeah. Basically, the water collection system in mind for California and the Southwest is, should the weather pattern change such that what precipitation does fall is in a different place. Well, we think, we'll build more reservoirs in the South,
and then it falls north, right?
Idea, but there's still your idea of the water's already in the east.
Yeah, it's already there. We don't have to build that pipeline once.
That's right. I mean, we did it in Alaska for oil. I don't know why we couldn't do that, do something similar here in the West.
Well, I mean, the California aqueduct, I mean, how long, I mean, that's got to be close to 1,000 miles.
Yeah, when you add up all its pieces.
Yeah,
I think it is. It's getting close to it, yep.
So what the heck, that's a third of the way. I mean, if you think about it that way, I mean, we need to go east rather than north, or south, north and south, but that's a third of the way. If they can do that, come on, guys.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And we wouldn't have to go all the way to the East Coast. I mean, just get basically close to the Mississippi, and there's a lot more natural rainfall there.
New Orleans would love for us to be taking water out of Lake Pontchartrain. You know what? That would, because that whole city is under sea level now, for Pete's sake, Yeah,
that's right. That's right. If it weren't for the Army Corps of Engineers, I'm not sure much of New Orleans would be there.
Yeah, isn't that a sad fact?
Yeah. Or we used to say that was a remarkable fact.
Yeah.
We used to herald, aqueducts to bring agriculture to the desert, and seawalls to allow a thriving metropolis like New Orleans to continue to exist. We used to really herald these sorts of projects as remarkable accomplishments. Now I guess we collectively look at them a little bit more skeptically, but part of the engineer in me still comes out and says, I see the downside you're talking about, but I still see a net good there.
Yes, sir. I hear you.
So, it is remarkable. It is still remarkable, the things that we do, that our engineering is able to accomplish. Really, really, really tremendous things. I mean, society has been radically improved. And I think definitely in the net for the better. So, but picking up on our previous discussion about climate change and things like that, I may take the engineer's perspective of, let's do some prudent things. Let's see if there are ways. There's certainly alternative ways for us to get around. There are certainly alternative ways to generate our electricity. And I'm not saying change everything, but all right, let's start adding renewable sources into our grid. Let's start adding, different ways, different methods of transportation. And one of the beautiful things about Southern California is, except for today, the weather's always so lovely. Yeah. I mean, why don't we, walk and ride our bikes more often?
You know what? Absolutely. You know what? And one of the things I love about where I live is we have these beautiful trails, and I can walk, I generally would walk 5 miles. It's been too hot to do that recently, but you know what? That's just part of the joy of it. Ray, this has been, I don't know where the time went, but we're out of time. This has been a fantastic show. I can't wait to hear any idea what you're talking about next week?
Yeah. Next week, there's been a lot of activity on California's climate change bill, SB 350, and I want to just talk about some of the things that have happened. And the enticing thing is to talk about the Olympics and the NFL. Is this a net good for the LA area?
Oh, what a great subject to have. Hey, Ray, enticing, and I love the fact that you dropped that bomb. I'm looking forward to talking to you next week.
Me too. All
right. Have a safe trip home. Give that lovely wife of yours a hug and a kiss from me, and stay safe, my friend.
All right. Thank you, Bob.
All right. Bye-bye.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this. The Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:41 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 83 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. I don't know why the high kind of went down, but now they're saying the high was 105 degrees, but it's still on its way down to 74 degrees. Well, you know what today is? Yep. Today is a very, very special day, and it's somebody's birthday. Oh, yeah. You know what? On September the 9th in 1941, actually, this gentleman passed away in 1967. He was a soul singer who often called the King of Soul. Happy birthday, Otis Redding. And here's a guy that most of you know. He was born in 1960, an actor and film producer whose movies have earned more than $2.4 billion, that's with a B, dollars from 25 theatrical releases worldwide. Happy birthday, Hugh Grant. And then finally, born in 1980, an actress, Williams broke into stardom on the series Dawson's Creek, and later, most notably, Brokeback Mountain. Happy birthday, Michelle Williams. Yes, sir. Well, today in history, September the 9th, 1791, Washington, D.C., the capital of the United States, is named after President George Washington. Yes, sir. And here's one for you. If you happen to live where I live in sunny Southern California or in California at all, on September the 9th in 1850, California is admitted as the 31st United States state. And here's one that'll get you. Also on September the 9th, 1956. Can you guess? Well, Elvis Presley appears on the Ed Sullivan Show for the very first time. Well, our quote for today comes from Golda Meir, and Golda says, "Don't be so humble. You are not that great." Boy, that's prolific, right? That's absolutely the truth. Well, you know what? It's time for our secret daily teaching for your life, and this is all about a positive mental attitude. Let's just get right to it. When I discovered the secret, everything in my life, including the state of my company, was totally transformed because I changed the way that I was thinking. Now, as my accountants continued to fuss about the figures and focus on that, I kept my mind focused on abundance and all being well. I knew with every fiber of my being that the universe would provide, and it did. It provided in ways that I could not have imagined. I had my moments of doubt, but when the doubt came, I immediately moved my thoughts to the outcome of what I actually wanted. I gave thanks for it, I felt the joy of it, and I believed. That is a positive mental attitude. And I'm telling you, folks, that really, really works. Now, it's time for the Harvard Business Tip of the Day. And the management tip today is, did you know a simple chart is a persuasive chart? Yep, sure is. The most anti-persuasive thing that you can do is make a bad chart that frustrates people. Your credibility suffers if people can't make sense of your visual. So you want to avoid a couple of pitfalls. First, beware of complexity. If there's too much information and no clear salient point that people can intuit, they tend to shut down unless they have time to find your narrative. Too many salient points fighting for attention is often the result of poor design. So, when trying to make a persuasive chart, keep in mind, if everything is bold, nothing is. Next, be wary of unusual chart treatments. People often struggle with visuals that flout convention. For example, if you depict time going right to left or put values out of order, very likely, not likely, somewhat unlikely, somewhat likely. Anytime people's expectations are messed with, it requires cognitive gymnastics to get things straight. If it's too much of an effort, they'll just give up. That, my friends, is just a fact of life. Know it. It's true. Well, it's time for those interesting but useless facts. So, you know what? Let's get right to them. Did you know it takes approximately 12 hours for food to entirely digest? So, you know what? You eat 3 times a day, but if it takes 12 hours to digest the meal you just had, maybe you should be eating twice a day. Think about that. Makes sense to me. How about this? Did you know that Montpelier, Vermont, is the only state capital in the United States without a McDonald's? Now, there is a sad, set of facts, if there were ever any. Did you know that no high jumper has ever been able to stay off the ground for more than 1 second? Now, that's kind of interesting if you think about it. I don't know how accurate that would be, but it's interesting. You know that turning a clock's hands counterclockwise while setting it is not necessarily harmful. It is only damaging when the timepiece contains a chiming mechanism. So that's where you got to keep in mind. And you know what? I don't know if it has a chiming mechanism, but they usually have these date time watches now. So it's all really important if you think about it. Did you know that in 1975, Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid in the United States consumed 25% of all federal spending? Now today, the 3 account, it moved to 43%. Wow. You can see where it's headed, right? 43% of federal spending today is on Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. You think we need to do something? Somebody better, that's for sure. Well, did you know that annually approximately 46 million Cokes, 5 million pounds of French fries, and 7 million hamburgers are consumed at Walt Disney World Resort in Florida? Isn't that something? Man, I'll tell you, there's no drought there, right? Did you know that on average, everyone farts once an hour? That's just an average, I wonder how many of those are silent ones and how many of them people just don't care, and how uncouth, right? All right. You know that an average ear of corn has 800 kernels arranged in 16 rows. You think that there isn't some kind of a plan? Let me leave you with this. Arnold Schoenberg suffered from trichinocophobia, the fear of the number 13. He died 13 minutes from midnight on Friday the 13th. Now, having said that, do not go away. When we come back, I'm going to answer all your emails. And you know what? The first one coming up is from Ben Valador from Roseville, Illinois. He's asking about home office deductions, and I'll tell you all about that after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, General Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:52 p.m. Pacific time. It is currently 83 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's down from 106 degrees on its way to, well, it's gone up a little bit to 76 degrees. But right now, it's time for us to get to our emails. I want to remind you that we're coming down to the wire, and I want you to know that we do this for entertainment purposes. So always seek the advice of a licensed professional before you go off and do anything. We try to give you the best answers we can, but it's based on what can sometimes be kind of sketchy information. So always talk to that professional. They're going to save you more money than they cost you. You know, they're going to let you have peace of mind and sleep at night. You don't have to worry about it. One of the conditions of them being licensed is that they have to have errors and omissions insurance, which means you're covered. If they make a mistake, they pay the piper, not you. Now, isn't that worth it? Sure it is. Well, first email comes from Ben Valador from Roseville, Illinois, asking about home office deductions. And he writes, if I convince my employer to let me work from home, will I be able to deduct a home office? Well, here's the thing, Ben. It's a promising idea, but home office deductions for employees are subject to restrictions. Now, first, the office is deductible only as an employee business expense among your miscellaneous itemized deductions, the total of which is deductible only to the extent that it exceeds 2% of your adjusted gross income. And also, it's not enough for your employer to let you work at home. The law says that you must work at home for the convenience of the employer. Now, this means that your employer must require you to work at home for the employer's benefit. So here's a suggestion for you. Show your employer that it can save money by not providing an office to you, but rather to have it formally require you to work at home. Then you got everything you wanted. That's the way you want that to be. Well, next email comes from James Johnson from Westfield, Massachusetts, asking about joint savings and probate, and says, my mom wants to put her savings in a joint account with me so I can inherit them outside of probate. If we do this, will I owe tax on half the interest earned? All the money's hers. I won't spend any of it, and I'm in a much higher tax bracket than she is. Well, James, here's the deal. If your mother provides all of the money in the joint account, the IRS is going to consider all the money to be hers, and the interest on it will be actually taxable to her. Now, use your mom's name and social security number when setting up the account. They will be used when issuing those 1099 forms that report the interest earned in the account to the IRS. The interest will be reported to her, and you'll have no problem. However, take note, if you withdraw any of the funds that your mother puts in the account, she will be deemed to have made a gift of those to you at that time, and she might be subject to some serious tax repercussions there. Well, next email comes from Matt Benavides from Mishawaka, Indiana, asking about Social Security tax, and says, I just lost my job. Can I keep paying Social Security tax voluntarily while I'm unemployed to prevent my Social Security benefits from being reduced? Well, Matt, the answer to your question is no. And moreover, your Social Security benefits are not based on the amount of taxes that you pay, but on the amount of your earnings, specifically your level of earnings in your 35 highest earning working years. So it's possible that your period of unemployment will not affect your future benefits at all. Now, to learn more about the Social Security benefits formula, get the free publication, Your Retirement Benefits, How It's Figured, in the publications section of the Social Security Administration website at www.ssa.gov. Or you know what? You can call them directly at 800-772-1213. Hopefully, that'll help you along with that. I'm sure it will. And finally, my last email comes from Crystal Karandang from Araya, Ohio, asking about a tuition deduction, and says, I'm a police officer. If I go to law school at night, can I deduct my tuition as a business expense since it helps me better apply the law? Well, Crystal, unfortunately, the answer to your question is no. Education generally is deductible if it improves your skills in your current line of work, but not if it qualifies you to enter into a new profession. Now, obtaining a law degree qualifies a person to practice a new profession as a lawyer, so the cost of obtaining such a degree generally is not deductible deductible as a business expense. But there are tax breaks for education. Law school studies may also qualify you to claim the lifetime learning credit, the tuition and fees deduction, student loan interest deductions, and other breaks just like that. And you'll be really glad that you actually went in that direction. It's just so very important that when you have these kind of questions that you just always, always, always seek the advice of that licensed professional. You hear me say it all the time, and it's because it's absolutely true. They're always going to save you a lot more money than they're ever going to cost you. I promise you, that's the case. Now, I want to thank you for listening to Robert Cardoza Live at the intersection of business and politics. Robert Cardoza Live broadcasts on Spreaker Radio, Roar, 1776 Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide every Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time, and on 405 Media Radio every Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google Plus, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com and email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. It's where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. On my next show, my expert contributor is going to be John Matthews in his series, The Conservative Syndicate. And my special guest, Sean Lefebvre, is talking healthcare on Geared for Wellness. I encourage you to tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network. And I also want to encourage you all to go out and get our apps. You can get the iOS apps at the Apple Store. Just search Robert Cardoza Live, or you can get the Android app at googleplay.com and just search Robert Cardoza Live. You'll be glad you did, and I'll be glad you did too. Thank you very much.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. The real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.